After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate, and the future of the world. What shall you do with Divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the God-woken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped and adored. Humans, lizards, elves and dwarves all rallied to his banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, I was freed of the God King's terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering. Now I fight for the other side. Now, I fight for the divine.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me. Why stay the abyss? Get an eyeful, Your Holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent. Actually, I've never looked better. Except for one small thing.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it, but instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much. But I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me. But I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you. Your Holiness. Don't be a stranger now.
Well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. A god, no less.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No. We were all of us instrumental. Only one walked away with divinity. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Please don't hold it against them. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you've no culinary skills, you lack a sense of fashion, and you've little or no regard for personal hygiene. A damning assessment, if ever there was one. Still, I'm nothing if not a tolerant man, who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much. As such, I'd like to offer you what I denied you before, the opportunity to become my slave. What say you? Well, only the best for the Red Prince. Surely you must realize that by now. You'll have to wear a collar again, by the by. Nothing you're not used to.
You escaped an abominable prison and confronted the king of all gods, only in turn to confront divinity itself. A rather poetic arc, don't you think? Not that your story is finished, of course. Your divinity shines upon all who walk Rivellon. And there will be those that escape to the shadows. You must be ready to face them, whenever they might emerge. Now that I am clear of mind and free of intruders, I'm wondering if it isn't time to share my learnings with the less enlightened. And to that end, I have a few ideas worth considering. Once I've come to a conclusion, I promise you'll be the first to know. As a matter of fact, yes. Source makes for an excellent ally in matters of a demonic nature. Not only can void seep through the veil, but the beasts of Nemesis might similarly slip out of their own plane. Whether you are clever enough of a divine to keep Damien's disciples confined to Nemesis, I can't say. But I think we'll know soon enough. And I suggest you be ready. Until we meet again, look away from the past and into the future. There is so much work left to do.
The flaming hatchling bounces and cheeps out of sheer excitement.
Daddy! Daddy! Looky at me!
It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying has hatched at long last. The chick trills contentedly and flaps its tiny feathers in recognition of its proud parent. It seems you've got a new mouth to feed.
Daddy! 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 Looky at me!
The chick's joyous flutters launch a few stray sparks into the air. It is elated by the very sight of its adopted father. Beast brushes detritus from his beard, sand, skin, and whatever else might have accumulated there. He takes a deep breath when he sees you.
I know it's the same old sea breeze I've always smelled, but it's different now. I don't know how to explain. Maybe you do, oh Divine One. How you can be so, what's the word, nonchalant? You're not free anymore. You belong to Rivellon now.
Beast begins to chuckle, then guffaw, and soon he is laughing as heartily as you've ever known him to.
That might be the most dramatic thing I've said in ages.
The laugh fades away, and the concerns of a kingdom and beyond pass between the two of you.
That's what I should be asking you. I'll find ways to excite myself. Always do. First, I go back to the kingdom, see the Queen. There's a lot to do there. Damage that needs undone. Dwarves have lived in fear for far too long on the outside. And the inside. Something tells me it's all going to be okay.
He winks and begins to sing.
Here the wild beast just sails on the ocean. He's docked in the bay and coming your way. Off on the yawn, you hear the commotion. He's docked in the bay and coming your way. The cupboard can't hide you, nor can your berth. His daggers don't care about the gold that you're worth. He'll bury your bones neath a mountain of earth. He's docked in the bay and coming your way.
He pauses, then continues to hum, all the while working his whiskers.
Yeah.
I've never been fond of what the Divine stands for, but I must say, it's rather exciting to say I've been up close and personal with one. Reform my ways? How adorable. No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, "mine." But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she? Always so nice to have friends in high places. And your new position is about as lofty as they come.
You're the new Divine. That's so cool. What's it like? Oh, that sounds more boring than I thought it would. There's also the matter of my payment for all the stuff I've done for you. That'll be...
He taps his fingers and mouths silently while he counts, until he arrives at an acceptable figure.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up. Oh yeah? What's that?
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
You got it. Everybody better watch out. Han will get you if you come too close. But you better believe the bill for that will be a doozy. Hey!
Oh my, you! Look who it is! Our brand new Lord and Saviour.
She curtsies low and looks up at you with a grin.
So, what's your first order of business? End world hunger? Instigate world peace? Send all spiders back to hell where they belong? Well, yeah. I'm not the next god. Someone made that abundantly clear.
She winks and pokes you in the ribs.
So? Come on, don't keep me in suspense. What are you going to do with your almighty power? Big job. I'd offer to help, but I've got some business of my own to attend to. Get loot, play loot, get loot, get glad. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? Don't speak too soon. You're a god now, after all. Soon enough, your brain will be full of all the fates of all the people in all the realm. Let me know if you see any falling boulders coming my way, though. Or goiters or something.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken, the veins in her face go grey, and a wicked smile curls her mouth. Suddenly, it's gone again. She winks, and you're left wondering whether you saw anything at all.
See you around.
Losa sings to herself, a small smile about her lips.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with his presence. How honored I am. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustavgen? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most. By myself, naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world. Beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustavgen seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world? There's another for the taking.
Tarquin's smirk wilts into a glow.
I didn't come all this way to show deference. Some friendly advice. All who rise are capable of falling. Gods, the divine, anyone. Remember where you came from. The last thing this world needs is more tyrants. I thought the new divine would have more pressing matters to attend to than to keep talking to me. Evidently not.
Well, well, Quirkus. Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order.
No, no, you should be thanking me. I just saved the world from the great acorn. You're welcome, by the way. Honestly, Quirkus, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this God King and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to save. So?
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling the air with the sound of dry, dusty purring.
Ah, Quirkus! Please, have a little decorum.
Quirkus arches his back, almost dislodging Silora, who just smiles.
This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the Great Acorn, but the Knights of Dre are still out there. They summoned the Great Acorn once. They will be able to summon it again. We have to destroy their order, once and for all. That is the future Quirkus and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy.
The squirrel tenses for half a moment before relaxing into your fingers.
Ah! Oh, hi, Quirkus. You never told me it felt this good. Well, that was certainly an experience. Of course, this has all been something of an experience, eh? But of course, what else should we expect from our glorious shield, Quirkus? I never thought I would be proud to have befriended a giant. But there is no one Ow! Quirkus! There is no one that we would rather have walked this world with. I do not know what comes next for you, but you will always have a friend in the forest. Come, Quirkus. We must... Oh, I think you have something in your eye, my friend.
The cat curls up and snuggles into his squirrel friend, who quietly sits and sniffs on the deck. The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg.
Amazing I'm still here. That we're still here. That Lucian... Well, that relationship always was complicated, wasn't it? You're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new divine. I've done so before, after all. But I can't drive myself to do it again.
Gareth beams. For the first time, he is his own man. Yet his enthusiasm is not a man's, but a child's.
A friend, yes. That I know how to be.
For a moment, his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then in the present once more, and smiles at you.
Friends. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is. And so I find out. My goal is to have a goal, if that makes sense at all. And if it doesn't, well, that's all I've got. It has been an honor.
Darling, there you are. Come, let me take a look at you. I've never known a god before they became divine. I was curious if it would have changed you.
She gives you a long, assessing look, but makes no immediate comment. She paces around you like a cat, looking you over.
Well, you certainly look the same. But there's something in the air around you. It vibrates ever so slightly. There's magic in it. Power. Don't you feel it? Maybe you should give it a bit of time. I imagine it takes almighty power a little while to settle in. That quite depends on you, I suppose. Is a deity permitted to mingle among us mortals?
She laughs, and it's music to your soul.
I certainly hope so. We love each other after all.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Love conquers even divinity.
Sabine cups your cheek in her hand, and in her soft cat's eyes, you can read the prospect of tender days to come. Ifan gives you an appraising glance, curiosity mingled with an emotion you can't quite put your finger on. Reflected in the mirror of his eyes, you see yourself, majestic, powerful, emanating an aura of purest source. Ivan's lip curls slightly, and he looks away.
So, you're it. Our new divine. I truly hope you'll do better than Lucian. Be better. You'll need to do even better than that. But if anyone can, I believe it's you. If I can give one last piece of advice, remember that you serve the people, not the other way around. I need to fix what my actions destroyed. I'm going home. I'm going to return to the forests where I grew up, where the death fog detonated. I'm going to plant new seeds and see fresh shoots spring from the earth. Maybe we'll see each other again sometime.
He pauses, as if about to say something else, then shakes his head. With one last nod, he whistles up his soul wolf and lopes away.
Use it wisely, Divine.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one. I feel better than new. I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The Empire used the war to expand its territory. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven Kingdom fought for the Divine, and her loyalty was unquestionable. Many fine and courageous dwarves did their people great honor, in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And on the integrity of the elven Godwoken who did not ascend. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new Divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arx battled on. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with ongoing war, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. Almira and Mihaili settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With a new divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally, but she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard served the new divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. The undead priestess Gratiana remained in her sanctuary, happy to wait for the war to pass. She was troubled only by the silence of her goddess. Changed by his experience with the Godwoken, Mordus proved a useful tool in the fight against the Void. The Alliance quickly learned to keep him away from ordinary soldiers for the sake of morale. Jehan the Demon Hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom to lead the dwarves in the fight against the Void. After a series of public blunders, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Medst replanted the lost forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, Ifan returned to the war, leading the elves in service of the divine. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forest still. Sabine wandered the world. She became a household name, famed the realm over as a traveling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the Emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. Lohse returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as the Divine's premier musician. Dark moods would still overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. You, Fane, the eternal divine. What did you do with your power? What kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Did you wish you'd surrendered the power that runs through your veins and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.